Hey, Arcturus here. Today, we're looking at an Underworlds team for the Soulblight Gravelords, the Crimson Court. Now, the cards for the Underworld team did not come with this box. I just got it for the models. I believe you'd also have to use a Rivals deck now, as opposed to the deck they came with originally, to play them in Underworlds. Another way to get this set is through the Crypts of Blood box for Warcry. Now, that set also comes with some vampire-themed terrain, or undead-themed terrain, and some Stormcast Eternals, but it is more expensive. I didn't really want any of the other parts of that box. I'm not really interested in Warcry. I just wanted to pick up this team from Underworlds. I think they're cool models, so that's why I got it in this way. So it doesn't come in a Underworlds box. It just comes in this generic box. And they are no longer in the red plastic. They are only in the general gray plastic. So it's a pretty simple set, as it were. You have the printed bases as opposed to the standard bases, and you get the 4 different vampires. One with wings, one who looks more like a bodyguard, a duelist, and then the leader. Pretty simple build instructions, and then some action cards for probably 3rd edition, or not action cards, some stat blocks probably still for 3rd edition, since 4th, as of filming this, has not officially released. This video will probably come out after 4th edition has been released, so we'll see if these models are still available in 4th edition. So, here we have the Crimson Court assembled. Let's take a look at these. So, before we continue with the video, if you could like and subscribe, that would really help me out. And if you have any other Underworlds teams you'd like to see me build, or Warcry teams, please let me know in the comments down below. On with the video. Of the 4 miniatures in this set, I have to say this one is my least favorite. Maybe if the pose was a little more action-y. Although it's actiony enough, it's just something about this miniature I just don't like. It doesn't mesh well, in my opinion. I think it's really the wings. If it was a cloak or something instead, that might work more like an assassin, as opposed to this winged fellow we have here. But of the 4, that's my least favorite. It's hard to say between the others. I would say probably the bodyguard looking one is my next least favorite, ranked 3 out of 4. For no particular reason other than, there's nothing bad about it. It did get a bent a little bit in the box. You can kind of see the stress there and the white and the plastic on that horn. But yeah, they stick out a little bit, and that's not uncommon to happen. Probably the reason he's the 3rd least favorite is because he just looks like a bodyguard and nothing else. I don't know. Just if maybe it's just I like the other 2 better. So the next one up is the duelist, which I think looks great. You've got 2 swords, looks very much like a duelist. Cloak, long vampire hair, just a nice model, very interesting, I think, and looks great, looks very vampire-like. That's also true of the bodyguard. The bodyguard also looks very vampire-like, whereas the winged one doesn't, in my opinion. It looks kind of like it, but it looks more like a necromancer creation than a actual vampire. But my favorite is the leader, which I think they did an excellent job on. It looks very much that classic vampire. Yeah, you've got the armor, the long hair, the sword, the I'm commanding sort of pose, the cloak. I just think it looks very, very good. The rock is supposed to look like that. I did double check. It is kind of sheared off the front there. I did think I had it misaligned when I put it in, but I checked the instructions and that's how it looks. But apart from that, I just really like this model. I think it looks really great. I know we got some cool beast style vampires, more Vargulfs, then, classic vampires, but I really think classic vampires would have done really well. I don't know how well the current vampire set did, but we didn't really get a ton of the classic looking vampires. We did have the one with bats in the hair, but beyond that, there's not a lot. I guess you could find Manfred from the Vampire Wizard on Black Dragon box, but I'm not sure he has a foot option. He's probably built to be mount only. Of these, I did clip most of the pins. These are an easy build kit, and I tend to clip most of the pins, and I didn't have very much trouble. I had one pin I overclipped, should have left it a little longer, but I didn't have much trouble at all getting the pieces in there with clipping the pins. The only pins I don't tend to clip are the ones into the bases, and those were a little tight. The Duelist in particular was very difficult to get in. I actually had to go in and scrape the glue off to get them thin enough to actually fit in the holes. So if you did do it only with push fit, it would probably hold very well, but I had some difficulty getting it in with the push fit. The other problem is she's kind of more delicate. She's got all the hair, so it felt more flimsy to push her in, and the fact that the sword is kind of in the way, because I had put this arm on first. I believe that's what the instructions said to do. So if you are going to build this, or any of the push fit, make sure if you aren't going to trim the pins, at least scrape them with the back of your X-Acto blade, or your mold line removing tool, or something, just to get any extra mold line off that, because they do sometimes have a little difficulty fitting. Well, that's all I have for today. I'll see you next week with another video.